African Americans built this nation. We built this nation. You know, you're just starting to get real credit for that. Okay, I don't know if you know that. You're just starting to get, you built the nation.
Can Trump deport black American citizens? The answer is no. Not lawfully, because we're citizens. But if you ask whether he can unlawfully deport black Americans, the answer is yes. Because the Supreme Court just took away lower court's ability to stop him. And if you don't believe me, let me show you how this became real after the Trump v. CASA birthright citizenship case.
What's going on, people? I want to briefly talk about all of this nonsense from migrants just saying to black Americans, your time is coming too. You wait. One day it's going to be your turn. In other words, to be deported. How's that going to happen? And where would they deport black Americans to? Now, you could say, oh, they're going to deport you back to Africa. We've never been to Africa. We have no connections to Africa. Let's just say, hypothetically speaking.
Hello guys, receive much love from Africa, receive much love from the motherland Africa. And guys, it's really raining outside, as you can see from my windows. It is raining heavily in Africa here, and we thank God for the rain, because you know, rain is always a blessing, because rain is the mother of food. So when there's rain, it means there's gonna be food. So we thank God for the rain. Now, my video of today is about Hispanics and some white conservatives who are forcing Trump to deport the black Americans, thinking that that is even possible. They forgot that black Americans are the real Americans. They are the America. Without black Americans in America, America is nothing. Black Americans are the creators of the American economy. So if you deport them, where will you take them? Where will you take them? If you deport them, how do we want to survive in America? So they thought that this is possible until black Americans came out to remind them who they really are. So guys, I want us to watch these videos, then we come back and have a chat as far as this topic is concerned. And of course, if you love our videos, if you love our areas of discussion, please subscribe, like, and leave us a comment in the comment section, and let's dive.
Can Trump deport black American citizens? The answer is no. Not lawfully, because we're citizens. But if you ask whether he can unlawfully deport black Americans, the answer is yes. Because the Supreme Court just took away lower court's ability to stop him. And if you don't believe me, let me show you how this became real after the Trump v. CASA birthright citizenship case. So in Trump v. CASA, the Supreme Court ruled that federal judges cannot issue nationwide injunctions or universal injunctions against Trump executive orders except with class action lawsuits. And those can take a while to be certified, those class action lawsuits. That means even if Trump signs an unconstitutional, unlawful executive order, judges can only protect the people who are named in the lawsuit or members of the certified class action lawsuit. Everyone else, they're vulnerable. Even if what Trump does is blatantly unconstitutional or illegal. So, can Trump deport black American citizens? Lawfully? No. But that's not the question anymore, because he doesn't need to act lawfully if there are no judges that can stop him. In fact, Justice Jackson warned, she said in her dissent, quote, "The executive can now deny people rights that the founders plainly wrote into our Constitution, so long as those individuals have not found a lawyer." And Justice Sotomayor said, quote, no right is safe in the new legal regime the court creates, close quote. She said no right, that means no citizenship right, no civil right, no voting rights, etc. Folks, that's not theory. That's not me pontificating. That's the reality that we're living in now. Additionally, back in March, Trump told El Salvador's president he would be deporting homegrown criminals. He didn't say immigrants. He said homegrown. That means people born in the United States. So if he targets Black Americans as criminals or gangbangers or threats or enemies, etc., what's stopping him from issuing an executive order to detain or to deport those people? Nothing. That puts Black Americans and any other targeted group in danger. This is why they say elections have consequences, folks. So remember, stay woke.
What's going on, people? I want to briefly talk about all of this nonsense from migrants to saying to Black Americans, your time is coming too. You wait. One day it's going to be your turn. In other words, to be deported. How's that going to happen? And where would they deport Black Americans to? Now, you could say, oh, they're going to deport you back to Africa. We've never been to Africa. We have no connections to Africa. Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, wake up one morning and the Iceman is knocking on the door, breaking the door down, saying, okay, get up. We deporting you. You going back to Africa, right? And we're like, Africa? I ain't never been to no Africa. Who's in Africa? What part of Africa am I going to? Yeah, you going to send me back to the continent? What country in Africa am I going to? We just going to send you back to Africa because that's where you from. You got family. Who my family in Africa? Where am I going to live in Africa? I don't know nobody in Africa. You just going to just send me back to a place that I ain't never been before? Now you see how stupid that sounds. Now I'm going to make a video on YouTube and I'm going to go in more in depth on that and I'm going to post it on X. Okay. So you guys go to X and follow me on X. If you have an X account formerly as Twitter, go on there and follow me. Fearless J 2008. Fearless J 2008. I'm going to make that video because it makes no sense. Why would you wish bad on somebody, to a people that have done nothing to you? What have Black Americans done to migrants and to the Latino community and even the Africans that would tell Black Americans, your day is coming too. You just wait. You're going to get deported too. Where am I being deported to? This is my country. This is where I'm from. This is where my ancestors are from. Oh, you's from Africa. Where in Africa am I from? And who's my family in Africa? Once I get to Africa, who can I call? Right? So tell me, all of y'all that say that I'm from Africa, that I'm going to be deported back to Africa. Number one, I can't be deported to a place that I ain't never been before. So how am I going to be deported back to a place that I had never been before? Y'all tell me that. Who's my peoples in Africa? What was my African name? See, you see how stupid that sounds, right? So when you say Black American is going to happen to you one day, why would you wish bad on somebody? What did Black Americans do to you? Was it an individual Black American? Did you get jumped? Did somebody take your cookie in school? Were you bullied? For Africans, were you called an African booty scratcher? Because I know a lot of y'all keep saying like, I was bullied in school. I was called an African booty scratcher. And that hurt my feelings. And I had PTSD from being called an African booty scratcher when I was growing up from Black Americans. So now I'm just going to wish that they get deported. What did Black Americans do to y'all to make you want Black Americans to be deported? To not even like Black Americans? Know what I think it is? I think you envy Black Americans. I think Black Americans are comfortable in a position, because y'all are trying to, for some reason, y'all seem to, be spending a whole lot of time, man. It's like Black Americans are living inside your head. You have Black American derangement syndrome, right? It's like, well, Black Americans ain't taking advantage of the opportunities here. Black Americans are committing all these crimes. But what does that have to do with you? Because a few Black Americans, just like from any other race, right? But what does that have to do with you? Black Americans don't work. They lazy. What does that have to do with you? How does that stop you from doing what you're supposed to do? And where are the results of what you've been doing since you've been here? All right. You know what I mean? So why are you all in Black Americans' power? Why are you pocket watching Black Americans? Right? How does that benefit you? How does that give one inkling to your life? How does that affect you? You just watch Black Americans day in, day out. You're trying to find something wrong. It's like, this what so create your own space. Do your own thing. Don't worry about what somebody else is doing. Right? But I made a video on TikTok and I was just supporting Coke, and I really didn't expect to get over 200,000, close to 300,000 views on there. And it's a lot of angry Mexicans and Latinos. Took that quite personal, although it had nothing to do with you. So now a lot of y'all are on there talking about grape Kool-Aid, which I have no idea what that is, and you talk about Africa and go back to Africa and it's going to happen to you. What's going to happen to me? Where am I going to get deported to? Who's going to deport me? Did you not know, and this is historically true, one of the biggest fears that the white man had was for Black people, for Black Americans to wake up and rise up. That's a fear that they've always had. That's why the FBI is always looking for a Black Messiah. And that's why when a Black Messiah, what appears to be a Black Messiah, arise, they end up taking him out, right? Because they fear Black Americans rising up. Okay? We are indigenous here. All right? So I don't know what you guys are talking about, man. Do you not know what would happen if they try to deport Black Americans? It sounds stupid. Even me saying this sounds stupid. But do you know what would happen if they try to deport Black Americans to a place that we've never been before, that we know nothing about, that we have no connections to? Right? See, it sounds silly. So y'all need to stop that nonsense, man. Talking about they're gonna deport y'all back to Africa, a place that we ain't never been before. We ain't no Africans, right? Well, I had a chat with Chat GPT. We had an in-depth conversation, right? AI and Chat GPT. And I was asking some questions like, well, that's a good point. It couldn't answer the questions, right? Because if you're telling me that I'm African because we have DNA in African, well, they say every human being descended from Africa. So that means a Chinaman should be African too, so what makes them different than me? Well, we've been away for over 500 years, right? And some even say that we were here before then, but they were transported to Africa and then end up being transported back here. Therefore, that's where you got the thing, oh, you from Africa. Black people all over this planet, right? You forget the original woman that they found, the oldest bone, was a black woman. So we've been everywhere on this planet, right? So who's to say that we are Africans, man? We're entirely different people. They know that they're different from us. They ain't like us, right? And I think that's why you have so many immigrants that's angry and upset, because they're not in the position that many of us are in, right? Although a lot of us, or you may think a lot of us, don't take advantage of it, all right? But where are we going to be deported to? And who's going to do the deporting? I don't think that's going to happen, because the day that happened is the day that there will be some serious bloodshed here. And that's one of the things that the white man always feared, was black Americans waking up and rising up.
Now guys, welcome back. However, MAGA aligned Hispanics and white conservatives have been pushing the idea that Trump should deport the troublemakers. In this case, troublemakers are the black Americans. The same people whose ancestors built the country of America that we see today. The same people whose ancestors died or were unalive so that Americans can enjoy the freedom of expression, the same people who existed in America even before the Hispanics. So they were thinking that Trump can even dare try to deport black Americans. So my question here is, if Trump tried to deport the black Americans, where will he take them?
African Americans built this nation. We built this nation. You're just starting to get real credit for that. Okay, I don't know if you know that. You're just starting to you built the nation.
Will he take them to Africa? They are Americans. It is close to impossible to deport black Americans. It is highly impossible, close to miracle, to deport black Americans. And Trump knows the effects of deporting black Americans. First of all, to where? Second, why? Third, then, after deporting them, how will America be? These guys forget one thing. They forget that you cannot deport the native people of the land. You cannot deport the original people. The land of America belongs to the black Americans, or if you like, the African Americans, the people who were there before. So deporting them is not easy as you could think, because Hispanics, they have got their land where they can go to. Latinos, Mexicans, but tell me where will you deport the black Americans?
Some people have insisted that there is no way African Americans can be deported. Meanwhile, outsourcing the prison system is one way they plan to do it. Here's how that works. Before the election, conservatives insisted that they were only targeting undocumented and violent immigrants in their anti-immigration legislation, which many people knew for a fact that that was not true. Come to find out, they are targeting people of all various backgrounds with their anti-immigration push, including detaining U.S. veterans and Native Americans and Black Americans. And there's been a lot of discussion about the 14th Amendment and who it applies to and how it came to be in order to make the descendants of enslaved Africans U.S. citizens. So how could America deport us? Well, we've already been hyper-targeted through the prison industrial complex, as well as through anti-immigration witch hunts, during which they have actually tried to deport Black Americans. But in addition to that, this current administration is trying to work out a deal with El Salvador to deport immigrants to El Salvador, but also to deport violent American criminals that are currently imprisoned in the United States. And African Americans are already hyper-targeted through the prison industrial complex. If you look at the amount of people that have been exonerated from death row, the majority of them have been African American, where it has been found out later that they were actually not guilty. But that doesn't matter. They'll start out by saying they're going to house violent American criminals in another country. Then they'll probably expand that to any criminal, thereby removing us from U.S. soil and figuring out a way to deport African Americans. Last but not least, Vivek Ramaswamy kept saying that he believed that the 14th Amendment should be something earned and not automatically given. So that's another way to try to disentangle us from our American citizenship and civil rights. Stay woke.
After these white conservatives demanded that Trump to deport black Americans, social medias where black creators like me here, historians, and everyday citizens flooded social media with truth bombs. They reminded everyone that black Americans are real Americans. Black Americans are not immigrants. They are the foundation of America. They are the beginning of America. So deporting them is like deporting the history of America. So you cannot deport the history of America. You know, these guys do not know the lineage of the black Americans ties back to the original tribes, the enslaved, and the forced labor that built every system that they're now enjoying in America.
So the fear-mongering has got to stop. Like, y'all are saying, oh, they're deporting black Americans. No, they're not. Because of what happened in Chicago, that building was riddled with Venezuelan gang members. That's who they were targeting, and that's who they were looking for. I'm so over this rhetoric that we're immigrants and we need to be afraid. I'm so over the fear-mongering tactics. Yes, I saw the videos. I saw the news clippings of the black women saying that they were detaining kids. That shit is fucking like diabolical. It's very unfortunate and absolutely something needs to be done. We absolutely need to talk about this. We absolutely need to fucking do whatever it is we need to do to make sure that things like this are not a normal reoccurrence. However, those people were let go. Like, they didn't send them to Guantanamo Bay. And you also have to keep in mind that there are immigrants that are also black. So if you see someone getting deported that looks like me, maybe they're Caribbean and maybe they're African. So stop with the fear-mongering tactics. They went up in that building in Chicago to get the Venezuelan gang members. We've been under siege. We've been under attack. Literally, we are the blueprint for the resistance in this country. I don't think that it's okay that they use brute force against anybody, no matter your background, your hue of complexion. I'm not in agreement with that. I definitely do not fuck with touching kids, period. Like, I'm just not, none of it is okay. And I feel like when you all hear me say, you know, black Americans aren't immigrants, or when we would be like, this is not a fight, that mostly stemmed from the fact that there has never been true solidarity between us and Latin communities. One-on-one, pockets of us, absolutely. We bang with each other in real life. Some of us are best friends. Some of us have children together. But as a collective, y'all even treat the Afro-Latinos like shit. So for me to see you all making these fear-mongering videos, it's like, come on. We've been getting detained. Y'all don't remember Stop and Search that was going on in the 90s and the early 2000s? Am I saying it's okay? No, but we will continue to fight the good fight. However, we are not going to get deported by the droves, because even if you get detained, they got to run you through the system and find out who you are. So stop with the fear-mongering tactics. This is not the way to get us to come outside. And do we need to fight back? Yes, but we are not fighting for the same thing. If you know, you know. Spread love is the Brooklyn way.
It's become very apparent that everybody is waiting for that I gotcha moment for black people, right? I've seen about 4 or 5 videos of Africans saying they hear that ICE is picking up blacks. We also have the Hispanics saying the same thing. Well, guess what? None of it is true. We are American. We can't be deported. We're not going anywhere. And if they try, guess what? We'll just fight like we always do. Other cultures and people are so obsessed with us that they can't wait till something happens to us, which is kind of sad if you think about it, right? Let me reiterate this, okay? Black people, black Americans have been fighting since day one, okay? If you want to say 1619, go ahead. If you want to say 1592, go ahead, all right? Pick a date and let's start from there, because that's how long we've been fighting for our rights, fighting for this flag, fighting in every war. Every war you can think of, yeah, we were there fighting for whatever we believed in at the time, all right? So This I gotcha stuff, you guys are just gonna have to keep waiting, because we're not going nowhere. We're gonna stay on the top. We're gonna continue to lead and be the best and be the example of what black people should be. Because if you look over there to Africa, pick one of the 54 countries, yeah, it's not really giving. All right, it's not really giving. But the black American, on the other hand, we've given the world everything.
So after seeing black Americans flooding on the social media platform with the truth bomb, they started to say that they did not mean Trump to deport the black Americans. Then what did they mean? That was their target. Their target was that deport the black Americans too, because you've deported the Hispanics. They forget that black Americans are the American. They are the history of America. They are the backbone of the America.
If Trump snatch up, say, 100 African Americans and deport them to Sudan or Libya or Nicaragua or El Salvador or wherever, those people are gone. They're out of the country. They're God knows wherever. And so let's say one of their family members file a lawsuit on their behalf. And let's say they successfully get an injunction from the judge. Well, it used to be, before this case, that the judge could say, basically, you got to return all 100 of these African Americans because you unlawfully deported them. But now, with this case, the judge could only say you got to bring that one person back. And the other 99, although it's unlawful, he cannot prohibit that unless they do a class action lawsuit. And people, class action lawsuits can take months, if not years, to get certified. So those other 99 African American people could be over there lingering, rotten in some jail or whatever, while their cases matriculates through the court system. It's almost like saying you can't kill that man after you then shot him. Listen, this court case essentially said to judges, you cannot issue nationwide injunctions except for certified class action lawsuits, even if what he is doing is unlawful. So if you phrase the question this way, can Trump lawfully deport African Americans? The answer is clearly no. But that's not the question. The question is, can he deport African Americans even if it's unlawful? The answer to that question is yes, because there's nobody to stop him anymore. All right, I want that to be clear. This is not just about immigrants. This is not just about Latinos. This case went far beyond immigration. I hope I'm making this clear. This is not just about immigrants. This is not just about Latino immigrants. This case went far beyond immigration. It basically, at this point, jeopardizes all of our rights. All of them. Now, I'm going to take you to the case and I'm going to show you that. So Amy Coney Barrett, Justice Barrett, wrote the case for the majority. And she said that judges could no longer issue nationwide injunctions, even if what Trump is doing is unlawful. You may say, wow, really? Yes, really.
Now, here's the irony of the story, guys. Many Hispanics, some only recently naturalized, and some are still fighting the deportation policies. And yet, they are trying to align themselves with a system that will never protect them. And on the other hand, the white conservatives who cheer that send them back, they fail to realize one thing, that every system of oppression they cheer for eventually eats them up. And that's the same playbook they used against black people, and it is now being used against them. Now, who is laughing? The oppressed. The people that the history has looked down upon for centuries. The people that the history never wanted them to achieve are the ones who are laughing because they have lived with the system, they have lived in the system, and they have adapted on how to live with that system. They have adapted and become part of the system. And now they are making it inside that system that was built to destroy them.
I got kids in the background, y'all. I don't understand the Latinos getting mad at black people. It's weird. It's like y'all gave the bully your lunch money and now you're mad at the same people being bullied just like you. When we needed y'all to be out voting, y'all chose who y'all chose. This is the outcome. I don't know why anybody would think that it would go any other way when that's been his rhetoric. That's been his whole campaign. I don't know what y'all expected. The thing is, y'all think that people see y'all the way y'all see y'all. Because you're Venezuelan, Cuban, Colombian, white people that's on that side, they don't care about that. They don't see those flags. They think y'all are Mexican and y'all just need to go back. Black Americans are already here. We've been fighting since the 1800s. We've been fighting Jim Crow not too long ago.
So suppose Sanders of MSNDNC recently said that black people were next in line for deportation. Now that's news to me. I have been an American citizen, a black male American citizen for 64 years. And I guess the bigger question is, where would they send us to? I mean, no other country has an open border policy where they'll receive, 15 to 20 million foreigners into their country. So people on the left, liberals, Democrats, whoever you might be, can you please do me a favor, do us all a favor, and stop comparing black Americans to illegal rapists, murderers, drug traffickers, human people traffickers. We are definitely not the same. In the words of Kendrick Lamar, they not like us.
And my black people made it very clear that they are not going anywhere. Because surely, where can black Americans go to? Black response wasn't just some anger, but it was like an education to the Hispanics and uneducated white conservatives who do not learn the history. They taught them about the history of America, exposing the hypocrisy of a nation that glorifies its freedom, but still wants to erase its first citizens, who are the black Americans. And that is a reality that really hits hard to some people who do not learn history or do not know the history of America till today. And the bigger truth is that this isn't just about deportation, good people. It's about how America treats its own black citizens as outsiders, even after centuries of unpaid labor, stolen land, and even cultural theft. Here is what they can't erase. Black American story is the American story. It means if you erase the black Americans, you are erasing America as a country. So erasing black American people is like erasing America as a whole. Meaning we are not going to have America anymore because black American story is the American story. And there is no politician, there is no movement, no hate group can even rewrite that. None has never been found and will never be found. So, to my black brothers and sisters in America, this is for you. The next time someone comes to you, maybe you should remind them to look or to check the mirror. Because the only people who can truly make that claim are the very people they kept trying to silence. No one can erase the black history. No one can erase black Americans from America. Black Americans are not just guests in America. They are the landlords of America. They are the landowners. And let me make it clear that black Americans are the landowners of America. So guys, thanks so much for watching this video, and of course, if you love my areas of discussion, please subscribe and leave me a comment in the comment section, guys. And this is your brother Fred from the motherland, and see you again in my next video clip.